In the unforgiving world of 2025 pop music, it's hard to figure out which single will perform, leading to even the biggest artists having trouble on the charts. In this video, we'll look at every pop single that flopped in 2025. Fat, Juicy and Wet by Sexyy Red and Bruno Mars. January 2025 kicked off with a bang, or so it seemed, when Bruno Mars, fresh off his chart-topping duet with Lady Gaga, teamed up with St. Louis rapper Sexyy Red for Fat, Juicy and Wet. The song was supposed to be a strip club anthem, but it didn't hit the mark. It came with a music video featuring cameos from huge stars like Gaga and Blackpink's Rose, but the star power didn't help it top the charts. Bruno's hook was overly raunchy, which was new for him. Sexyy Red is known for that, but her popularity was starting to fade going into 2025, and as the year went on, she struggled to build momentum. The song debuted at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100 and fell off after a few weeks, which was disappointing for a hyped-up collab. Streaming-wise, it underperformed too, barely passing 100 million streams on Spotify, even though it was released at the beginning of the year. I'm pretty sure you barely remember it now. Love in Real Life by Lizzo. Lizzo's 2025 comeback was meant to be triumphant after a 2-year hiatus following lawsuits from former employees alleging workplace toxicity, which she denied ever happening. The 4-time Grammy winner returned with Love in Real Life on February 28th, the lead single from her 5th studio album of the same name, which still hasn't come out yet. The song got an upbeat rock sound with gritty guitars, but it didn't connect with her audience. Lizzo credited her comeback to Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour, reigniting her spark after a Houston crowd showered her with support, but it wasn't quite what she hoped for. The song never cracked the Billboard Hot 100 or the UK Singles Chart, and it came and went with no impact, leaving her career in limbo. She followed it up with another single, Still Bad, which performed even worse, and the album she was building up to has been postponed indefinitely. The momentum Lizzo had going into the 2020s has now died, and no one knows where she is going from here. Hot Box by Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X entered 2025 trying to kickstart his new era. He announced Dream Boy as his next project with a barrage of singles, teasing his second album. Hot Box dropped on March 14 as the era's centerpiece, a pop rap banger that was supposed to take over the charts. Its music video, with its fun pink aesthetic, was well made, but it couldn't build buzz for the song. With single after single, he tried to get back the popularity he had at the beginning of the decade, but in reality, the chart performance was underwhelming. Hot Box missed the Hot 100 entirely, and even its music video stalled around 4 million views on YouTube. It also only got around 12 million streams on Spotify, making it a flop, especially for an artist of Lil Nas X's caliber. He had a really bad year in 2025, even getting arrested and going to rehab following his bizarre walk on the street naked, which was caught on camera. Forget the charts. I hope he's doing well. Just Us by Jack Harlow featuring Doja Cat. Jack Harlow was plotting his comeback in 2025 when he hit up Doja Cat for Just Us, his latest single, which came out on March 21. The song was supposed to kickstart his next era, and his back and forth with Doja was supposed to be the talk of the blogs. The cameo-filled music video built some anticipation, but the song was a letdown. It had a weird bop that was hard to get into. Despite the hype, the single struggled to make an impact, failing to break into the Billboard Hot 100's top 50, peaking at a modest number 57 in its first week, before quickly disappearing from the charts. On Spotify, it is sitting on only 42 million global streams, which is low for both artists. And Jack Harlow has been real quiet since the song flopped. Love Me to Heaven by Jonas Brothers. The Jonas Brothers kicked off 2025 with optimism, marking their 20th anniversary with a lot of announcements. On March 21, they dropped Love Me to Heaven as the lead single from their 7th studio album, Greetings from Your Hometown. It was supposed to be a throwback pop anthem, but it didn't have the impact they wanted. With the trio going back on tour, the song was supposed to extend their hit catalog, but their momentum stalled. It didn't even chart on the Billboard Hot 100 or the UK Singles Chart, and with a modest 50 million Spotify streams, it failed to kickstart the group's new era on the right foot. Then the album arrived in August and debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200, selling 39,000 units in its first week, which was disappointing for them, as it became their worst-selling album ever. Ecstasy by Ciara. Ciara was the undisputed queen of crunk and B in the mid-2000s, but as time went on, she became more of a socialite. than a charting artist. She tried to make a comeback this year with Ecstasy, the lead single to her 8th studio album CC. It was baby-making music, but it didn't have the magic of her early classics. The music video was good, but it failed to get her attention, and the song missed the Billboard Hot 100 altogether. Even a remix with Normani and Tiana Taylor couldn't revive it. Ciara has been having a tough time on the charts in recent years, and the single continued that trend. The streaming performance was even worse, as it has only accumulated just over 4 million streams on Spotify. Easy Lover by Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus entered 2025 riding high from endless summer vacations momentum, but things didn't go as planned. Released on May 30, as the second single from her 9th studio album Something Beautiful, Easy Lover had an interesting backstory. Originally pitched for Plastic Hearts and even Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, it was shelved until Miley reimagined it with a twist. A self-directed music video dropped alongside the album, but the song struggled. It peaked at number 82 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming one of her lowest charting singles. It didn't do much better on Spotify, accumulating just over 40 million streams to this day, which is low by her standards. Miley's latest Something Beautiful album era was weird. It got good reviews from fans and critics, but it became one of her worst performing albums ever. Old Phone by Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran is at an interesting time in his career. After dominating everything in the 2010s, his latest albums have been getting less and less attention, but he came back this year with his 8th studio album Play, and Old Phone was the second single, arriving on May 1. It was a reflective mid-tempo ballad about lost connections. It had that perfect Ed Sheeran tempo, which gave us some of his biggest hits, but this one didn't connect for some reason. And following the lead single Aziza, it was a disappointment. The song debuted at number 17 in the UK, and in the US, it only peaked at number 89 on the Billboard Hot 100. For a second single from one of the biggest artists ever, it was a flop. Man of the Year by Lorde. Lorde dropped Man of the Year on May 29, 2025 as the second single from her long-awaited 4th studio album Virgin. It's a low-key pop ballad that was supposed to give a boost to the album when it was released as a single, but its performance on the charts was disappointing. Man of the Year didn't even touch the Billboard Hot 100, and across the pond, it peaked at number 62 on the UK singles chart. It also had underwhelming streaming numbers, accumulating 46 million plays on Spotify to this day. Lorde has kind of reached the legacy artist stage, where her new releases don't perform half as much as her earlier hits. Love Is Like by Maroon 5. 2025 has not been a good year for Maroon 5. In August 2025, they came back from a hiatus with their new album Love Is Like. The title track was released as a second single from the album, featuring a Lil Wayne verse. It was also released with an interesting music video, but it couldn't help its chart performance. The song didn't even chart on the Billboard Hot 100, fading from relevance in a very short time, which was not typical for a Maroon 5 single. The album also underperformed, debuting at number 36 on the Billboard 200, selling 18,000 units in its first week, which made it the first ever album in the band's history to not hit the top 10. They have had a disaster of a year that many people are not talking about. Jealous Type by Doja Cat. Doja Cat took a big risk this year, switching up her sound on her latest album V. The lead single Jealous Type was released on August 21, 2025 after a lot of hype and teasers, but it couldn't live up to the lofty expectations. The song had that unmissable 80s sound, and it debuted at number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100, falling off in the following weeks. It did debut at number 13 in the UK, which was decent, but it didn't have the staying power of a typical Doja Cat lead single. Even though she performed it at the 2025 MTV VMAs, it couldn't boost the streaming numbers that much, as it has just crossed 110 million Spotify streams. That may be decent for other artists, but as the lead single to an anticipated era from a huge star, it was disappointing. Which pop single that flopped in 2025 did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.